So first question, can you tell us a bit about your background and what inspired you to pursue a career in politics?
Sure. And I'm not sure I would use the word career in politics, but I know what you mean. How did I end up here?
Hmm.
And I got a bachelor's degree from Colgate University in English literature, and then I went on and got a bachelor's in nursing science, BSN, bachelor's in science of nursing. And then I went on and became a nurse midwife out of General. General is the term for UC San Francisco at General Hospital, which is now Zuckerberg. And I practiced midwifery for about 20 years. And then the climate for midwifery was very challenging in the 80s and 90s. And medical groups and hospitals kept getting bought and sold.
Hmm.
And it was challenging to begin with because I would be up at night and then I'd have to deal with the politics, and my medical groups changed 5 times in the 18 years that I practiced. So I thought, this is not sustainable. Maybe I'll go to law school and pass the bar, which I think might be easier than the political situation I'm in right now. I was right. It was much easier to go to law school, much easier to pass the bar. So I set up my own law practice in Menlo Park and opened up because some of my family members were ill in Carmel. I set up an office in Monterey and Carmel and eventually moved there. And I wanted to make friends in the area more so than I had with 50 years of visiting. And I joined the neighborhood association in my community, and over 12 or 15 years, got more and more involved in my neighborhood and more involved in a committee called Neighborhood and Community Improvement Program, which is where the neighborhoods of the city of Monterey use the assets of 16% of our transient occupancy tax. And the members from the neighborhoods actually vet projects that are suggested for the community. And then the suggestions go up to city council and they're vetted again. And these projects then become projects to which the city of Monterey commits. Things like retaining walls and sidewalks in difficult places, um, equipment for parks,
Hmm.
contingency fund for buying open space, um, things like that. So I became more and more active and found myself down at City Hall at the city council meetings all the time. And simultaneously, our city went to districting. Before that, we had had 5 at-large members. One was the mayor, and 4 were just at large from anywhere in the city. And with the new wave, you've probably heard of it, of wanting more representation to smaller areas of jurisdictions. It's called districting. We divided into 4 districts, and I realized that that was a smaller, more easily achievable goal to represent and run from one of those districts, from my district. And so for the first time, our side of our city districted into 4. And the first time our neighborhood was up for district election, my neighborhood association was 3/4 of the population. And I realized, hey, I could do this. I could be elected by my community. And there was already one person that wanted to run. And I thought, well, I want to give my community choice. I'm very much a believer in choice at every turn and in every topic. And so I decided to run and I won. So I think my motivation, when I look back, my motivation was to continue my already 15-year long involvement in the city. I had been on that NCIP, Neighborhood and Community Improvement Program committee. I had grown to be president of the neighborhood association. I was always down mouthing off my opinion down at City Hall. And I realized I also simultaneously retired the year before I ran. And I realized I still wanted to do something. I still had a lot of energy and
Mhm.
was interested in things that were going on. So I ran and won.
Thank you. That's super, really super impressive. And that makes me wonder, what are the key issues you're focusing on during your current term?
Well, my four top issues were revising the way the city's committees of volunteers, uh, community commission members, and community committee members, how they are selected. Prior to this, it was just the mayor, um, away from any view of the public. And it had been that way for a long time. And I complained with the previous mayor, and I complained with the current mayor. I always wanted it more public, more transparent, where it could be viewed and people could participate. And so my first priorities was to amend what we call the governance ordinance. My second priority, which was the number one priority for my community, was to look at all issues of trees and our forests. So we are a very high fire propensity district, and people, when I canvassed, really wanted to talk about trees, how to take them down, how to maintain them, how to maintain views. What about a sick tree on my property? What about a sick tree on my neighbor's property? And how to get down trees that might be threateningly close to homes when the predilection of the city was to protect all trees because we love trees. So with all the rains coming, some of the root balls were loose in our old Monterey pines, and people were shifting in their attachment to all trees. They really want to take a different look. So that's going to happen this fall. That was my second priority, was to have the people be heard by the city and the staff about adjusting how to take down a tree, how to prune a tree, issues like that, as well as fire prevention by removing some of the fuel in the forests. My third was I was approached by people who live in multifamily housing, and they wanted anti-smoke ordinances, or to look at the question with the public about increasing some restrictions against smoking in multifamily homes, especially ones that don't have their own air circulation. So I felt that was important given my registered nurse background and my current registered nurse degree and certification registration. So that will be for next year. And then I was approached by my community to the north, a community called Skyline, which is in between Route 1 and the western end of Route 68. They're concerned about the traffic issues and possible safety implications of the on-ramp from Skyline Forest Road onto Route 68. So we are having a study done, and then we'll look at the recommendations from that study and see what might be done, what might be recommended, and how much actions would cost, and look at that whole issue. So those are the first four for
Mhm.
my first year. Interestingly enough, they're going to take 2 years. What I thought I could do in one, I'm finding is 2 years. So
Yeah, that's super impressive. And I'm so happy you're doing that. So my next question is kind of like a shift. How do you feel your experience as a woman has shaped your perspective and approach to politics?
Well, I'm heavily invested in issues of health and
Mhm.
safety, probably because I'm a registered nurse, probably because I'm a certified nurse midwife. I come with a sensitivity toward health and families. I'm very interested in the issues of childcare and what we can collectively do. Right now, the school district seems to be taking the lead. They've started a preschool at at one of the local schools because our population has declined. There is some empty space, and they've transitioned to a lot of preschool. So that's very interesting, and I think that might be a result of being a woman. And I think some sensitivity to forms of discrimination there and how to react to that. I've been very lucky in my life, and I'm just someone who plows ahead. I mean, I just don't stop. So I'm not sure I have been strongly um, held back, but there have been times that I know I was discriminated against because I was a woman, and I just keep plowing through. So I hope I'm aware when that happens to other groups of people. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for that. And like going off of your last point, maybe not so much for you, but in general, what steps do you believe need to be taken to really achieve gender equality in political representation?
Well, I'll be honest, I think women just have to work really hard. I mean, they have to want it and they have to go out and get it.
Hmm.
You know, if you want parity, you have to look at your ambition, what ambition you have, and just really work hard. And I would say that to any group that wants more representation, it's really I know it's a group issue, and I understand rallies and group gatherings, but what I would tell people is the way to change it is to change yourself. If you want to be a doctor, you go to medical school. If you want to be a lawyer, you go to law school. If you know if you want to have pay equity, you work really hard and you achieve it. So that's always been my advice, is to do it the old-fashioned way, work really hard.
Thank you. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And based off your like experience, what skills do you believe are essential for high school students aspiring to pursue a career in politics? And is there any like specific activities or organizations you think they can join to develop these skills?
You definitely have to stay current on your internet technology.
Hmm.
I was lucky. I ran my own law practice myself, and I did all my websites and I did all my programming, and of course, tons of tools and programs and templates that I would have to use and, you know, connect to everything, my printer, and I had to do it all. So I, of necessity, had to stay savvy. Now, sure, I had a professional internet company that backed me up, and I had a printer company that backed me up, but I always had to do the basics. And when I first began, I always did my own backups, you know, onto hard drives. So what I'm saying is, you have to be IT savvy, and you have to either teach yourself or learn, take classes to be able to represent yourself with those skills. You have to be able to do a website. You have to have all these programs, Word and Excel, and you have to know how to do them, and you have to keep up. You have to keep up with social media if you're going to be a politician, and or have enough people that will help you with that. So for better or for worse, IT, you really have to master it.
Yeah, thank you. I know you kind of mentioned this already, but my final question is, do you have any advice you would like to give to young women in high school aspiring to pursue politics?
Well, sure. The best advice I was always given was in law school because I went to Santa Clara and the Jesuits were a strong influence, and they gave classes on how things go wrong. You know, they would say everyone's very interested in the question of how do attorneys go wrong? And they walked us through the temptations in law of having influence, I'll say, and for a politician, power, and how you can go down the wrong path. And that has stayed with me my whole career. And it was something I used in my family of origination with my kids and my husband. And it was always, if you don't want your children behaving that way, you can't. Whatever you're doing, whatever decision you're making, if you can't sit there at the dinner table and tell your children about it with your head held high, then don't do it. And at law school, the way they framed it was there will always be that first temptation to fill in the blank, fudge on your taxes a little bit, fudge here and there, um, and you will probably get away with it because you are privileged. You are so well educated that you will learn how to to work with the system to your advantage, and to be extremely careful of that because once you're on the road to that, you have compromised yourself. So I would tell young women and anyone that what you really own is your integrity, and to never ever give that up to anybody, to know what your voice is and what you believe in and your values, and to stand by them. And when you're challenged, and boy is this a challenging time, isn't it? You have to be on the side of your truth and understanding your truth and why it's your truth, and do not veer from that. It's so easy to fake people out and to say, especially as a politician, the glib answer and the current buzzword, and to really not even understand what it means in your true life. So if I could say to about talk about any one value, it's the value of your own truth and transparency and integrity is something of extreme value. That's really what people see in you. They see your heart. They see how hard you work, what you're standing up for, and whether you're authentic, whether you have follow through. That's what they're wanting. That's what they're evaluating you on, and the topic will come and go. The way you treat the right of freedom of speech and everyone to be heard, how you treat the 14th Amendment with due process, has everyone had an opportunity to be heard? Have the agendas been given sufficient time for stakeholders to be involved? That's not judgmental, slowing issues down. That's giving the whole community equal access to participation, and standing by the things you view and standing by your authentic self, defending the Constitution is something you can never retrieve once you've compromised it. So that's what I would tell young people is your integrity is everything. And Don't don't try to fake people out. Do not try to say fancy things that make you look good. People can people see what you are.
Thank you. All right, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate your really insightful answers, and I'm super honored to have interviewed with you today.
Well, and thank you for your interest. That's important for young people to be interested. Um, it's an involvement that grows over time. Younger people are very, very busy, so those who can find time to put into political involvement are extremely impressive people and very valued because we know how hard young people are working to keep up economically right now and to keep up with their family commitments and their personal relationships. And so it's seen when young people really want to contribute to political life, it is very valuable and appreciated. So thank you for what you're doing.
Yeah, thank you. It's really like great things that you're doing, and I hope everything goes well for you.
Thank you very much.
Thank
And
you.
you. Bye bye.
Bye.